Recording is on.
Okay, welcome to the second Designathon UX research call. It is the 6th of May, 2024. Five. Gosh, how am I so random? I don't even know the year. How is that so random? So I'm still stuck in 2024. So we have Eric here in Paper Psych, and V's trying to just hop on. So we can just randomly chat. This call is here to support the participants of the Designathon in any of their UX research needs. Um, so yeah, that's it pretty much. I've actually just posted in the general channel asking if anyone wants to join an AI UX design workshop.
Mm.
That's super random, but I think that would be super fun to do as well. Not that I'm an expert in it or anything, but I think it would be fun to learn from each other.
Yeah, I saw Christoph's kind of thread about that, and
Hmm.
my eyes kind of lit up. I think that has a lot of potential, like I mentioned, especially for the accessibility stuff, where
Right,
the low hanging fruit, like, is it passing a contrast check? Are the font sizes big enough to WCAG guidelines and stuff like that? For the low hanging fruit, I think it can be super beneficial. And
same.
then for the more nuanced accessibility things, you'll always need a human. But I think there's a lot that could be done just on that front. And then I'd also want to see how it performs on the more kind of subjective things that kind of depend on the context, whether or not this is the best UX decision, because sometimes it's counterintuitive.
Right,
Like on paper, you want to reduce as many clicks and not make the users think, but sometimes there's actually reasons why you have these blocks in place or whatever the case may
right.
be. We'll see how it handles kind of those situations.
You
So
know,
yeah,
like
I'm down for the
like
workshop.
a random idea. Okay, so you can just hands it in the air in the general channel. Um, the another idea I had is like we could even feed it in like specific principles that are specific to Bitcoin
Hmm.
UX, like just like 20 checkpoints. And then if
Yes,
we feed that in as like this is the data that you need to be using to make the analysis.
correct.
Check out these things in the onboarding flow, check out these things in send, check out these things in receive. It will use that as knowledge.
Yes.
That might be super interesting to do as well. Kind of, because then any wallet builder can basically just take their screens, screenshot it, and then just put it in and just use
Yeah,
AI
exactly.
to analyze.
And it's running against the guide, which is already, we do our best to have those suggestions be backed up by evidence and whatnot.
Let's think together. Like I'm pretty sure we'll have the workshop. I think there'll be people interested. Eric, I would love your support in doing that as a workshop.
Yeah, I'm in, and we should probably prepare by like getting a tool together and
Yeah,
running through some examples.
yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Okay, I'm excited. Another workshop. Yay. And Eric is supporting. Let's do it.
Let's
Okay,
do
so
it.
welcome to this workshop. I'm so happy to have you here, Katie. Arjun, you're back again. V, you're back again as well. Amazing to have you all back here. This workshop is to support you as participants in the Designathon to find out what your research needs are. In the last session we had this morning, we had V there and we had Arjun there, and we were all supporting each other. So Katie, welcome to the group. Nice to have you here. Would you like to say hi? Okay, thank you. You're not able to talk, perfectly fine. So yeah, so in this session, we'll dive into answering any questions that you might have, and then we use those questions to identify which research direction you should go in. Arjun, you were here on the call this morning as well, right?
Yes,
Okay, have you found a project that you're interested in?
I thought of redesigning Zeus app.
Good stuff. So you're going to be doing that on your own, or are you going to be joining Timmy and Toby?
Not sure.
Perfectly fine. All good. You just do your thing. Amazing. So we did do the Zeus. Let me just pull this up. I shared it in the channel. Let's go back to my files. We did do the Zeus wallet, kind of thinking about what to how to redesign. You were there on the session, right?
Yes.
So if you're doing it on your own, and if you look at this diagram, the question will be you could be asking yourself is which screens, if redesigned, will have the highest impact. To come up with enough data for that, you could speak to the developer, see what users are saying online, and you can use the Bitcoin Design Guide and AI, which is what Eric and I were just talking about. Um, do you think there's anything else you could do or look into during the redesign process? Did we lose you, Arjun?
And no, I'm just thinking.
No, take your time. Take your time. In the meantime, while Arjun is thinking, let's just maybe jump to V and ask V. V, how has it been going with your research from the research questions earlier on?
Yeah, I did some research, and I also wanted to ask you one more thing that uh, so while doing my research, there is I think three main things that I did. First, what would be looking at YouTube videos. Second would be chat GPTing things, and third would be just Google researching whatever I didn't understand or whatever was new for me, or just whatever I need to research.
Mhm.
So how do I jot down my research into
Okay.
maybe document or like I don't have anything like what did I researched into, so I didn't make this doc. Maybe I can share.
Please go ahead.
Now, should I share this in the chat?
Sure, that would be amazing. Hey, Jason, thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, so this is what I made, but like this is basically just working on the project. I'm not sure like how do I tell that what research did I do while while doing this?
Okay, so
I
this
don't know
is
if
your
that
working document.
yeah, basically yeah.
So I would just add in a section here saying research done. And I would add in the name of the research that you did, the source that you did, and why you decided to research that. Um, so the source I would add in, let me just add it in here. Add in source, add in why researched, um, add in what you learned from doing the research.
So I just made a list of what all things I want and just go for it. So I don't particularly know what type of research I did.
I would say, I mean, it's called, it's Googling what you did basically, because you were going all over the place. You were watching YouTube videos. Um, One of the questions that you were looking at answering, and I just want to come back to that, is what is the formula that Housey is using?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the answer
Uh,
to that?
I don't particularly know if it's correct or not, but yeah, I got this formula that was 90 upon 15 in brackets and some sign that's equal to I'll tell you the correct formula. But yeah, I got that. But the answer was basically that there can be millions, like not if not billions, there could be millions of ticket that can be made on the number system, like if there are numbers 1 to 19.
Okay.
Also, I got to know that in a ticket, so the first column is there, like only the numbers can be from 1 to 9, and the second there can be from 10 to 20, sorry, 10 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically like this. But if I have like a question answers, they are random, so I can also arrange them in order and have them uh, like that. So 1 to 9 questions come in the first column. And I have that. If you can click on logic of putting numbers, the tabs.
Logic of putting numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
This
this
is
is
what you
basically the logic.
so this is what you discovered through your research.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, good. So what do you think is the next step?
Designing maybe?
There we go. Let's do it. So earlier
So what
on,
kind of research
yeah, go
would
ahead.
it be? What kind of research would it fall into?
I would just say just call it research. Call it desk research. I mean, you sit at your desk
Okay.
and you research. So we call it desk research. So just to give everyone else some context, V was on the call earlier this morning and she went off and she conducted research based on the project that she's working on. So we supported her to try to think about what research is going to be useful to her. She then conducted desk research, which is basically Googling and finding out information around one specific question. She now has the answer to that question, and now she can move on to, I would just say, a very basic design of this. Yeah, V, good job. Nice to see this.
Yeah, I'm learning a little bit about this game. I wasn't familiar with it until I heard you talk about it in the first call. But just scrolling through this, it seems like it's like a combination of like bingo, but also there's like an element of I don't
Crossword.
know, like what's the other element that separates it? Because you have to have answer the right definition.
Crossword and yeah, crossword and bingo.
Crossword and bingo. Nice. There's a bunch of you here on this call as well, and I'd love to support you in your research process in the similar way that I supported V, because she's pretty much just come back. She's done all of her research and now she's ready to move on to the next stage. And how we were able to decide on which research to do for her is we spoke a little bit about the project she's working on and we discussed what questions she's asking herself. So she can now move on to the design phase because she's answered two of the bigger questions that she was asking herself. Let's see, we have Katie, we have Asit, we have Arjun, we have, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Mojitilewa, and we have John as well. Who's working on what? I'd love to know what projects you guys are working on, or if you're maybe looking to join a project.
Everybody. My name is John.
Hey,
I joined the NPub Cash project with Eric. And the reason I'm on this call, I'm just kind of eavesdropping and seeing kind of what's going on. I personally don't have a research question necessarily, but I kind of just wanted to drop in and learn from whatever else is being talked about.
amazing. So Eric, you're leading that one.
I don't know about leading, but I'm helping orchestrate. I'm definitely I suggested it, and I'm helping the people that want to work on that project get all the information they need. So I could speak maybe a little bit to it and the current state of it. And let me actually share my screen. 1 second. So we have an npub.cache thread going on here. And the big thing is maybe I could start from the beginning and just briefly kind of talk about what npub.cache is. So it's a web service. Let me share my whole screen. That way everyone can see. All right, is npub.cache visible?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
So we were taking a look at this this npub.cache website. So what this is it's a way for, if anyone has a Nostr account, this automatically gives them a Lightning address that can receive eCache simply by putting your npub followed by @npub.cache. So you can basically, let me just quickly give a short demo. So I have, you could just take any Lightning wallet, for example. Can you guys see Albi?
I can't see anything else
Okay, let me share
other
the
than
whole
your
screen.
browser.
Okay, do you see the Albi now? The top right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can take any Lightning wallet. In this example, I'll use Albi, and you can hit send, and this will work with Phoenix. This will work with any Lightning wallet that supports Lightning address. You'll input someone's npub, which is their Nostr public key, and then you'll do @npub.cache, and then you could send Bitcoin. So I'll send 2 sats. And already that's kind of interesting because anyone that has an npub now has a Lightning address that can receive eCache. So that's already a really great onboarding thing where people might sign up for a Nostr client to do something totally unrelated to Bitcoin. Maybe they signed up for sports or pottery or art, and they have an npub, so they have a wallet. And you can send them money by putting their npub at npub.cache. You'll send this. It tells you the sats have been sent. In this case, I send it to my own npub.cache. So now I'm the user that received that to my npub. If I sign in to npub.cache using my Nostr extension here, I see that I have the 2 sats here. And then I can withdraw those sats by hitting the withdraw button, signing again to basically unlock it. And here I have an eCache token that I could redeem on any eCache wallet. So I'll just open up cashew.me, which I have as an eCache wallet here. I'll hit receive, eCache, paste. Oops, didn't copy it. So I'll copy again. Receive, eCache, paste. There's the token, 2 sats. I'll receive it, and I just received the eCache. So this is a way for you to just send eCache to anyone that has a npub.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's really, really great tool, and it's quite powerful too in terms of getting a different client base or group of users onto Bitcoin. So we were discussing redesigning this website because as I ran through it, I think that from a design point of view, there's a lot of things that could have been improved in that experience. But then what we did was we looped in the lead developer, his name is Ege. And we basically told him that, hey, yeah, we're looking at redesigning this. And he told us about the upcoming changes that he's making to npub.cache. So for V2, it's going to operate a little bit differently. And some of the big differences are that instead of it being a kind of web wallet, which is what you saw here, where you sign in, you kind of claim your eCache and you can receive to it, it's a very kind of wallet kind of interface. Instead of that, what the goal is for this to be more of a backend thing where if you have
Oh, we've lost Eric there for a bit. I'm sure he'll come back. Let me just see. John, has this helped your understanding of what the project is about?
sorry, I
Yeah.
think
A bit more. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead,
did I
Eric.
drop out? Okay, yeah, but so I guess to bring this back to the research call is that we're now what we're doing is we're looking at the V2 from the developer. We're looking at the developer's needs, the developer's visions, and we're asking questions about what is it that we as designers can kind of most focus our efforts on during this designathon to make sure that the designs that we give the developer are most suited to V2. So wallet compatibility and wallet integration seems to be a big one. And yeah, fail safe. So if a user doesn't have an eCash wallet, what can they do with npub.cash to potentially claim that eCash? So those are two kind of questions that we're throwing out there. But at the stage that we're at with research, I think we need to look a little bit more closely into what the vision is for V2, and then think about what the design should do to match that. So there's already been some work done by Johans in the form of a Figma file here, which is redesigning the landing page to better communicate that. So this is Johan's kind of first iteration of a redesigned npub.cash landing page.
Sorry, Eric, could you share the other screen?
Oh, sorry. What am I sharing?
This is the chat thread that we're seeing right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not accurate.
I can see the Figma design right now.
Oh, you could? Okay.
Could you see it? Oh.
What about now?
Okay, I
Yep,
see it.
see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Johan's kind of first Figma design where they're laying out a landing page for the new npub.cash. And I think what the next focus should be to think about how can we communicate the vision for npub.cash v2 into this landing page. Maybe there's more that we could talk about for how this is something that you can integrate into your eCash wallet. What does that connection look like? But this is already a pretty big improvement compared to the current site. So this is kind of where the project stands right now. And yeah, there's quite a couple people that are interested in it. So
This
yeah,
is
does anyone have
amazing.
any thoughts?
I've written down some notes here, Eric, with regards to what you said. Okay. What is it that we as the designer can focus on that will have the highest impact? And you mentioned wallet compatibility.
Yes.
There was something else you mentioned as well.
Wallet compatibility, and I think the second bullet point, which you already captured, is the fallback. What if they don't have a wallet?
Okay.
So we need to think about, I think, that experience, because there's like the great use case where everyone has a wallet that's compatible with npub.cash and they can claim it. That's great. But I think another important part is to account for the users that maybe don't have that wallet. Is there anything that we can do for this service to make it so that they can still claim their money without having a wallet? Yeah, go ahead, Arjun.
So off contest question. So as you mentioned about wallet, so when I was exploring the Jesus app, it takes a lot of time to create a node and a wallet.
Yeah, definitely. If you're starting from scratch to create a node or a wallet, would be probably way beyond the scope of a designathon. And I think for the vision is that some of the Cashew developers, which are already pretty active, would make this integration very easily. So what I kind of imagine that looks like is not us kind of creating a wallet to do this, but an example would be the wallet cashew.me, which I can maybe just show quickly.
I just wanted to see the other designs on the app so I can develop it. And I went through some GitHub issues also, but I don't see much of design. It's just some margins or paddings, that's all.
For, you mean the Figma or the
GitHub. On GitHub I went through some design issues.
for npub.cash? Yeah. Oh yeah, I haven't looked at the
Not npub.
Oh. Which GitHub are you referring to?
Jesus, Ellen.
You said Zeus?
Oh, let me just share the link.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, this is for Zeus.
Yeah, so Zeus, I mean, we can get to Zeus if we want to close the loop on this.
Yeah, maybe we should just finish off chatting about this NPub eCache, and then we can move on to your questions about Zeus, Arjun. Yeah, please continue, Eric.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the two things are wallet compatibility and fallback.
Yeah,
And just a real quick example of what this integration looks like. If you look at, do you guys see the cashew.me that I have here to the left?
yeah.
So I don't know if you can see it, but this is a wallet that already kind of supports it. And this is how they're handling the integration, where you toggle this on and it says lightning address with npub.cache, and then you paste your npub. So this is one way of how one wallet can support this integration. And this is pretty simple, right? It's just you flip a switch and then you copy and paste a text string. But is there a way that we can make this even better? This is one way of integrating npub.cache into wallets. So maybe something that the people that want to work on this is, what are some other ways that this integration could look like? Maybe it's scanning a QR code. Maybe it's when you go on the website and you hit integrate, there's a nice kind of onboarding, a walkthrough explaining how this integration works. So things like that are maybe the ideas that we can start, the questions that we can start asking, the ideas that we can think about here.
Okay. Okay. So these are some great questions. We have John here. John, is there anything that's coming up in your mind with regards to what you're thinking about based on what he shared?
I think I got to look a little bit more into it. My browser crashed like 4 times throughout this whole call, so I keep missing like every time Eric talks about something important. I think I have to reload the tab. So I think I'm getting like a Swiss cheese picture where there's like a little bit of a hole on there. But I mean, this definitely helps me get started on at least like how to think about the problem and what to do as the next steps. But I still don't have a clear picture of like how to get started and really what to do next yet. So I don't know. Maybe Eric, like, is everything happening just on the Discord channel, right? Like, we're not having any group meetings or anything yet.
Yeah. Everything is in that thread. The one thing that did come up today is kind of urgent. Ege said he had some kind of small emergency. He didn't specify what. He said it's not a big deal, but he had to check into a doctor or a hospital. So that's why he hasn't responded to our questions that we gave him yesterday about NPub v2. But once he's taking care of what he needs to take care of, he'll be back there. But everything that the latest is in the Discord thread. And maybe we can kind of put this in here.
I'll go copy paste it straight in. Or do you want to do that, Eric?
I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I don't have access to this file, but
let me hold on. I'm just gonna go do it straight away. Then I'm just gonna say that thread is. Let me just go to the Designathon channel. You started a thread there, Eric.
Yes, it's towards the top. Let me see if I can give you a direct link.
Some details. Design a node eCache. Yes, I see it. Yesterday.
No, that's not it. It's this thread is called npub.cache. I'll drop it into your Discord DM. 1 second. Just dropped you a direct link.
Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead. Maybe it's an idea to share that link with John as well.
Yes, I'll put it in
I'm just gonna say questions.
Jitsi now.
Yeah, I'm already on the Discord thread.
Cool. So I've added this in here. I'm just adding it in right now as we speak. Question for Dev. And how can we, okay, and that's question number 3. So I'm just going to put all of these in here. And that is now in the, yeah, cool.
Yeah, thanks for organizing that, Mo.
Yeah, so I hope that helps you with contributing to the project. It's kind of this initial thinking process getting us to think about these questions that are in our minds at this very early stage helps us to narrow down what we're focusing our time and our energy on. Because where we focus our time and energy is, is are the directly related to the end result. So very early on in projects, I like to use research or research thinking or question thinking to think about how to narrow things down so that we don't go all over the place in how we approach the project. So welcome, John. Is it your first time taking part in a designathon specific to Bitcoin?
Yes.
Amazing. Welcome. We're super happy to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure.
Good. Is anyone else thinking of joining in the NPub Cash project and maybe they have some questions? No? Seems to be like the projects are organizing themselves. Arjun, do you want to maybe dive into the Zeus wallet, which you had some questions on?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was going through some. Okay, like I installed the app and I wanted to go through the UI UX,
Yep.
but it's taking too much time to create a node.
Okay.
So I don't know how to go through it. Is there a bypass for it?
I've not used Zeus wallet myself,
Let
to be
me
honest.
look at my Zeus. I know that when I connect it, so when you're initially connecting and it's doing the starting your node, that's where you're encountering a big delay at the top when it's doing the sync.
Yes, Zeus is starting your node. It took like I waited for like 30 minutes. It was
Yeah,
10
that's way
minutes.
too long. I mean, maybe we can troubleshoot it together if you want to do that outside of this call. But yeah, you'll definitely need that to get started. Are you using which version are you using? The test flight version or the official version in the App Store?
Official version.
Okay, maybe try the test flight one. That's the one I'm using. I'll see if I could drop you a link to that one. Let me find it.
Sure.
Are you using iOS or Android?
iOS, Android.
Are you using Android? Okay, so I guess test flight won't work, but we can probably find an alpha APK on their GitHub. Have you tried that one?
No.
Yeah, let me just quickly see if I could find that, because maybe that version, maybe you're encountering some glitch with the official version, which is not great. But if we could maybe try the alpha APK, that might work. Okay, here we go. I would say, do you have any funds on there, or are you only using it for testing?
I'm just using it for testing.
Maybe try uninstalling it, and instead of installing it through the Google App Store, try downloading the APK from the link that I just sent you directly, which is the Zeus Releases GitHub. Maybe that'll help. It's worth trying a fresh install directly from the APK.
Sure, I'll do it.
Sure. And there's a couple versions. So there's like V0.11, Alpha 2, Alpha 3. Maybe try both. Hopefully that'll sync.
Got it.
I'm going to do another share screen. Was that helpful for you, Arjun?
Yes.
Thank you for
I
helping
was
him to
going
troubleshoot.
through some GitHub issues, but mostly it's not about UI UX. It's about just minor padding of vertical margins.
Right.
So I'm just thinking out should I approach this?
Yeah, well, I think the first step that you're taking by downloading a working version of the application and getting a feel, what I would suggest is you only have one chance to have a first experience with the application. So when you have it working for the first time, take screenshots of not only every screen, but every interaction that you have with every screen. So if you click on something and you have an issue, or you click on something and something pops up, you're taking all of these screenshots of every interaction that you're having with every screen, because you only have one opportunity to onboard yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So good luck. I hope that Eric's help was helpful for you.
And we could troubleshoot it further if you want to just ping me on Discord. Same for you, John. If you want to
Yeah, sure.
do an npub.cache review, we could throw a link in the thread and say, hey, John and I are going to review npub.cache. Anyone jump in?
So, for those of you who are joining for the first time, I'm going to share the Bitcoin UX Research Toolkit, which was built by a few of us about 2 years ago. We noticed that doing research in the Bitcoin ecosystem is slightly different from doing traditional product research, because here in Bitcoin we have very privacy focused users. So sometimes when we conduct research, we have to turn it on its head, because we can't, follow the same research practices. So a bunch of us created this about 2 years ago. Um, I'm not a developer, but I managed to, use a no-code tool to put this together. And this is for the novice researcher who is just starting on a project and are asking themselves particular questions, such as, we're about to launch, what do we do? Are we building the right thing? How do we set up a long term research process? How do we get buy in from the rest of the team based on the research that we've done? We're sharing the data with them. How do we get them to implement the data into the development process? How do we come up with solutions to user problems? So if you click on each one of these, it's going to suggest a recipe for one of those particular questions that you're asking yourself. So that's why when, as a participant, when you jump on the call, I will ask you, what is the question that you're asking yourself right now? And then if you jump into the question, you get kind of this recipe book template on how to basically conduct that. Something else that has been added recently is this, what I call a playbook, which is basically, when you're kicking off research in the beginning, you set a direction, you plan, you finalize the plan, you execute the plan, you analyze, you share, and then you have the solutions. So I think in terms of you here, you might not undergo such an in-depth process, but this, oh, I see that it's not changing my screen. Hold on one moment. This one here, the playbook, will be very useful in trying to think about all of the steps should you want to conduct something that's more in depth in terms of your research. So yeah, I'm just sharing that. It's just a high level overview. There's a whole bunch of resources in there on how to narrow the scope. If all of you are, I'm going to jump into this one as well. Let me just research kickoff. Okay, I'm going to jump into this one as well. Often when projects kick off, here it is here. So often when projects kick off, let's see, is this going to open? Is this visible on the screen? Okay, let me share again. It doesn't seem to be moving. Here you go. So often when projects kick off, I've created this sort of online thing where you can think about the problem that you might be working with right now. So the problem could be just questions. You can just brain dump in all of the questions. And then, if you've noticed, this is actually relevant for Toby and Timmy. If you've noticed all of the problems now through doing your research, you dump the problems in here. You can basically just dump it in as sticky notes. Once you dump the problems in, you're like, oh, wow, like this is what users are struggling with right now. We've gone to the GitHub, we've gone to the Telegram. You dump the problems in here, or you can hypothesize. So here you can dump in the problems based on actual research, or you can hypothesize. You can say, we think that these are the problems. I would obviously suggest going out into the wild and actually seeing the problems by checking out Reddit, checking out their GitHub, checking out their Telegram, and just dumping the problems in here. And then as a group, you're going to vote on the problems that you think, if solved, will have the highest impact. So here you, as a project, you can basically say, hey, everyone, let's meet at 5 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to vote on which problems are going to be the the have the highest impact. You vote together, you reach consensus. So you narrow the scope down and you ask yourself, which area of the user flow is this problem related to? Maybe it's the onboarding, maybe it's the send flow. And then you reach consensus by adding a sticker. So let me just see here. Which problem will have the highest impact? Everyone gets top two votes. So you move two of the problems into the next one. You move two sticky notes here. So 1, 2. Then you decide on the focus area. So you'll have two problems here, and you can decide to focus on both, or you can decide to focus on both of those areas. So this is more leaning into the wallet side. So for Zeus, and then here you can basically dive into which research question answers will help us to understand this, and that's it. So this was a resource which we've created. I've only seen now that it's been used a few times on Figma community. Yeah, that's basically how we reach consensus and work online as a team in deciding what's going to be the highest impact design thing to work on right now at this moment. But we have Toby and Timmy here. So how's the research been going from our call this morning? I'm very curious to know. Would any of you like to share, Timmy or Toby, any of you?
Okay, I'll just share.
Yes.
Hi Mo, hi everyone.
Yes.
Um, okay, so far, we've been taking screenshots of interactions on the app, right, and pasting on Figma, trying to you know I think there was something you taught us on in the boot camp in Nairobi. So I tried to implement that here, where we begin to tag where we feel is good, places that we also feel need some attention. At least that's where we are in the research phase. So I reached out to Christoph. Because he spoke about connecting us with. I think he mentioned. I can't remember the name he mentioned. Linking us with somebody that's in charge is Zeus. So I'm still waiting for his response so that we could get more insights from the devs and also um, get access to the Telegram also, so we could also get insights from users on Telegram too. So
That would be amazing. Let me see if I can help you to find the Zeus Telegram, because I do believe that I am in that Telegram as well. Here we go. So Zeus Payments Wallet. I'm just going to share my screen. So this is how I basically go and snoop around and find information about projects. So I will basically visit the website of the project, and here, you can download the APK, you can download from the store. So I'll just have a bit of a snoop around. Cool. So they've had some redesign going on. Usually, if you scroll all the way down to the main page, you get their GitHub, you get their x.com, you get their Noster. And then here, if you click on this, you're going to get their Telegram. So I will just share this with you in the chat here. So if you go to scroll all the way to the bottom, you go into their Telegram, and maybe there's a way to download all of the Telegram messages, or maybe at least for the last 3 months. You can also just copy and paste it as well.
all right, thank you. I'm currently doing that now.
Yeah, so that's what I tend to do to speed up my research process is, if I were you, to save a lot of time, I will basically try to or export the chat. If export is not available, then I will take screenshots. I will basically just feed it into AI, and I will say, "Hey AI, bucket this data for me." I go with a very wide question. I say, "Bucket this data for me," and then it'll come up with like 5 buckets. And I'll be even more specific. I'll say bucket the data, then it'll come up with 5 buckets. And then I want to go even further down, and I want to find out what the problems are. So can you tell me what the problems are that the users are experiencing? Because AI, sometimes I notice that it tends to need a wide bucket umbrella in the beginning, and then you go more narrow. If you go narrow in the beginning, it kind of, doesn't work, or it short circuits in its way of thinking. So start with the broad bucket, say, hey, bucket everything for me right now. And then a narrower bucket is bucket the problems that the users are experiencing based on this data. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps you guys in continuing your research process.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you so much.
it's nice having you here, Toby.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Happy to see you continue on this UX design journey.
Thank you.
So that's Team Zeus. We've got Dave over here. Dave, or Asit, what are you working on?
Hello.
Hey.
So I've been working on the Bitcoin beacon. And since the last call, I've just been adding features that I would like to see as part of the widget.
Okay,
And actually, let me share my screen. So,
please go
mm,
ahead. Oh, one moment, that's my fireplace. I'm just going to switch it off.
yeah, sure. I guess for the rest of you guys that are here, I'll just tell you what I've been working on. So the idea of what should go into the widget, I guess, was instead of doing like a lot of research, I decided I would build this widget for what problems I face personally and solve the problems for myself first, the Rick Rubin way, basically, and then give it out to people who, if they feel they have the same problem, should then, yeah, this app should basically work for them. Um, yeah. So basically, just took a bunch of screenshots and then arrived at something like this, where the bonsai would be replacing this character, and all the stats that Bitcoin um, is on will be displayed in the rest of the places. Do you guys have any questions?
Nice. So, would you like to, for the ones who were not on the first call, would you like to maybe give some background about what the project is about that you're working on?
Sure. So, honestly, the first idea I had was the lamp. The Bitcoin lamp, or the Bitcoin beacon, was supposed to be a tabletop device that, it's going to be a tabletop device that basically tells you what the price action on Bitcoin is like for, say, the month, for, say, that day, or you can decide what timeline you want to be looking at. But say there's a 5% rise, then you'll basically see this particular bar where there'll be one bar of green. Say it Bitcoin price falls by 5%, then you'll see this red. Basically, it's a candlestick representation of, on as a physical device. But then when I got into, say, going through all of that, I realized I'm going to need a lot more of electrical engineering work to go in there. So I've started doing some research on that end. But I realized what I'll need first is an interface that basically talks to this lamp. And this widget essentially acts as the lamp in this case, but instead of it sitting on your tabletop, it's sitting on your desktop. Um, and yeah, so the functionalities will be something like this. So instead of the swords, in this case, it'll be a bonsai where different levels light up different pieces of the bonsai. You can see a little more representation of what's happening here. But slowly getting to what I'm, what I guess the widget should eventually do and feel like. Um, but overall, this is what I want from the widget. It should be fun. It should stay in the background. It should tell you the Bitcoin price, and it should give you an average of whether your uh, whether your investment or whether your portfolio is overall up or down, or what percentage it's at. And you should be able to get that reference just by looking at this bonsai tree doing its thing.
Amazing. Fun.
It's very cool.
Yeah. uh, I guess, yeah, I'm going to continue working on this.
So do you feel that it seems to me as if you've narrowed your scope down further since the last like 4 hours ago?
Yeah.
Good, good.
So basically, yeah, something like this, but more of a Bitcoin.
Got you, got you. For the rest of the participants on this call, we're just coming to wrap up the call now. So just for some information, Arjun was on the call 4 hours ago, and on the call, he was at the very beginning of his project. We tried trying to narrow things down so he could focus where he was going to focus his time. So he took the last few hours. He's now more focused in terms of what he's going to work on. The same thing with V. V also kind of narrowed things down. Same thing with Toby and Timmy. Um, what do you think is going to be useful for you just as you kind of keep on crunching along with working on your projects? Just curious to hear from any of you, because we only have these two calls from the research side. We've got a bunch of accessibility calls coming up. I'd highly recommend jumping on those as well. But yeah, is there anything else that you think would be useful to you as participants? Just curious to know how we can support you. Anything is fine. Even if you have questions, even if you're like, no, this is a crazy question, anything goes. Arjun would like to get on a call with Eric after this.
Honestly, what would be really awesome would, like, if we have a database of sort of all the participants and what kind of skills they bring to the table, so we can just talk to them directly if, say, they're keen on contributing to a certain project or collaborating on a certain project.
Okay, I have an idea because we've been discussing. So each of you are kind of leading or involved in specific projects. So right now we've got the Zeus, we've got EPUB, NPUB, eCash, and we have the game here. So who's ever kind of like taking the lead or already working on the project, I'm going to suggest a post for you tomorrow to make in the Bitcoin design community. So you who's kind of leading the project or like rolling ahead with it, I would suggest creating an image. Just create one image just in Figma, just state the name of your project, and then underneath that say, hey, right now we are a team of two or we're a team of one. These are the skills we're looking for right now for our project. So you kind of have this big image, and then anyone who rolls into the Designathon channel will be like, oh, okay, Zeus is looking for this, or Team NPUB Cash is looking for this. So then what you're working on and what skills are needed for that particular project. But what I'll do is I will post in the Designathon channel tomorrow just one image calling all of your attention and saying, hey, say what your needs are and get people to come rally in. Because I understand at this early stages, some of you might be just working solo and you might be needing people to come in, or maybe you want to work solo as well. It's also perfectly fine. So in that way, you can get the right skills to your project, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. So I think with that, we can wrap it up. We are on the hour. This has been great. It's so nice seeing John here, someone who's never worked in Bitcoin before, kind of just curiosity brought him here. Eric has been a massive support as well with joining these calls. And yeah, just let us know how we can continue to support you in the Designathon. Very important thing is just have fun, like follow the fun. It's what I always tend to do, is like follow the fun and just have fun. The more fun you have, the more curious you get, and you just get things done. Also, I'm going to shill something else because I'm very interested in using AI in both research as well as vibe coding, as well as UX research. So I've made a suggestion here, and I'm going to just share the link very quickly, to possibly have a session in the Bitcoin design community on how we can use AI as UX designers. So if that's something that you're interested in, just go ahead and give a hands in the air emoji, and we will set that call up and continue to have fun. So
Hey Mo, on that same subject,
yeah,
actually, I've been meaning to ask because this is a very related topic to what you just shared. I would love to know how you guys generate all your illustrations and visuals for everything in the Bitcoin design community because they're all beautiful. And I don't know if we actually have an illustrator doing them or it's all mid-journey, like
mid-journey all
prompting.
the way.
Yeah, I would love to learn because obviously I don't have illustration or graphic design skills, but like yeah, I'm a UX designer by trade. It's not too hard finding that stuff online if you look around, but it's never going to exactly be like what you have in mind. So I would love to learn like how you guys prompt to get what you're looking for and how to
Totally.
implement them on your work.
Totally. Like as a very practical perspective, I use Claude and I use Midjourney. So those are my two AI tools now off trade. And I use it all the way from generating images to coming up with strategy documents to analyzing research. I use it all the way across the board. And I've just started using it from a very practical perspective. I've not followed any courses or anything. I keep on poking and prodding at my colleagues. Christoph has been super helpful. So yeah, we can do a session. Like if that's something, we can add that into the AI session because that's how you use AI in UX design. You can use it to generate whatever you want. Like I mean, I've even conducted research and I've asked it to come up with a whole user interface based on off of the research that I've done. So Claude combined with
Wow.
Midjourney can do wild things. Yeah.
I would love to see how you do that.
Yeah. And this is just playing around and being curious. So go ahead. I think it'll be super fun to set up that call in the community. It's so fun. So fun.
You have to pay for Midjourney, correct?
Yeah. So right now I pay $20 a month for Midjourney and I pay 20 for Claude as well. So those are kind of my tools of the trade that I just use. But I use them almost every single day. So for me, it's worth it in the end. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Let's do it. I'm excited. We do AI UX workshop. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah, let's do it. Eric can teach us. Christoph can teach us. I can share whatever I've learned.
Yeah, I'm happy to share what I know. I've been using it to animate some of the videos too, and to varying success, but it works. Happy to share my process.
Yeah, you can have so much of fun. The amount of things I have a tab open right now, which is called the AI Builder Club, because I'm very interested in actually using Claude and then moving whatever from Claude into a design and then moving that into code. So what does that actually look like? It's a very easy process, apparently. We just have to learn. So let's learn.
Have anybody on this call tried Replit or Lovable?
Tried Lovable.
Yeah, I've done Lovable once or twice to do like a Bitcoin energy consumption website, and it worked quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually tried to. So, for those of you who don't know what those two things I just named are, they're basically think of your basic large language model like ChatGPT or Claude, and you basically describe a web app that you want to build or a website, and it just does it. It'll ask you questions back and whatnot, but they're kind of magical, really. If you especially tried any programming at all, you could see the code just formulating on your screen like magic. But yeah, I've actually tried to build a Nostr app from that by kind of telling it like, hey, do this, make it authenticate like that, and it kind of keeps getting stuck throughout errors. But
Yeah.
still, I think you get to a point where you have to pay to unlock like all the limits so that it can keep working through the errors. But Yeah, I was just curious what like other people tried maybe in relation to Bitcoin with those.
I've tried Lovable not very successfully. I wasn't very, let's just say, I wasn't very pleased at the aesthetics that Lovable was able to produce, even though I really fed it in branding guidelines. I wasn't impressed. So that's why I'm kind of going to try out Claude right now, because apparently Claude hits the nail a little bit better in terms of producing clean, crisp aesthetics that actually look nice. I wasn't impressed with Lovable, to be honest. Maybe I need to learn how to prompt better. So I don't know. I'm just gonna try Claude out for now and see what happens.
That's probably not you. I have the same issue, even despite feeding like branding, like not a full document, but I would tell, hey, use these colors and try to go for this aesthetic. It's still some of them I wouldn't hit the mark.
It just doesn't hit the mark. And I'm gonna be super random and share this video, which I was actually watching. I'll just share the link. Maybe you can watch this. I'm probably gonna watch it later this evening. It's just this guy who I was pretty impressed with the UI design that he was able to come up with using Claude. So that kind of got me very excited about using Claude as an AI designer. Oh, Eric is sharing the Bitcoin app.
Eric, this is really cool.
Where is
Yeah, I
it?
was surprised by how well it came out. I'll just quickly share my screen on the
Yeah,
Lovable.
this is
Uh,
not bad at all.
This is what I had Lovable do, was create a website that analyzes Bitcoin's environmental impact.
Wow.
And it's good. It does feel a bit kind of Tailwind template-ish, like very stock, but
Mm-hmm.
going from 0 to this in a prompt is actually quite impressive. Like you can see the
Right.
grid is interactive, gives you data on the countries, interactive pie
Did
chart
you have
here.
to tell it where to get the data, or it just found it?
I have to check my prompt again. No, it found the data.
Yeah, even more impressive. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I was able to put, yeah, and it links to its sources here, the Cambridge study, the Bitcoin Mining Council. So yeah, this was my only experience with it, and it's decent.
I'm just trying to see what I was able to build. No, I can't find it. Oh, here. Yeah, I played around with building two things. I know we're going completely off topic here, but I played around with building something that I called an insight compass. So this would specifically be for Bitcoin wallets who are analyzing the issues that their users are experiencing. Um, I think it was great that AI was able to pull in all of the data. So I basically input the link to the GitHub here. It pulled in all of the data. So it's like, oh, authentication problems, UX issues, and everything. But it's just not sexy. Like it's just like, oh, like I'm like, okay, this is just not, you know. So I kind of got, and then I'd had a whole bunch of troubleshooting issues with this, which I wasn't able to really troubleshoot in the end. I told them about accessibility issues here with seeing this, and it just didn't get it when I asked it to fix it. Maybe we should just do a whole session on this, because I think it would be really good to build that. And then another one that I was trying to build was a UX research. Is this visible to everyone? Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing that I tried building on Lovable was a UX research database, basically putting in different categories, and it basically came up with this pretty quick. So this kind of more simple, kind of build seems to be easier for it, which I think is pretty impressive, just with using a few prompts. Yeah. So yeah, that's been my experience. I think we can definitely learn from each other. So yeah. I just at the same time, I just don't find the UI design. It's just, it's not jumping at me, if I could be honest. So yeah, I just not feeling it. So yeah. Cool. Let's wrap it up. I will stop the call recording over here.